I mean, you got the biggest dick in the game. Like very few people are on a whim like, go, let's spend $1 million on a Tuesday afternoon on digital marketing.
Oh yeah.
On a just because.
Hey guys, this is Michael Gonzalez with Big Money Moves. This is the podcast so you can learn about how to make money and do great things. I want to do an amazing podcast today with one of my really good friends. His name is Elie. He's a smart guy. He knows so much about business, entrepreneurship. I'm going to let him do a little introduction about himself. So take it away, my dude.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I guess I'll quickly introduce myself and we can.
Don't be modest. You're the man. Bang on your chest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a foundation, a music entertainment executive. I used to be Sean Diddy Combs' manager, day-to-day manager for about 7 years. As you can imagine, 7 years with somebody who's
Diddy. We talking about Diddy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 years with somebody of that caliber and that sort of thinking. He inspires you to aspire to have what he has. So a couple years ago, with his blessings, started my own agency, management company by foundation, but we help brands get to the next level, right? Like we come in and consult on their marketing strategy, align them with the right talent and kind of just drive things forward. Found it to be very scalable and it allowed us to also start representing artists under brand deals, right? So I'm very rare in this industry where I understand both sides of the fence, right? I understand what it takes for a brand to win and what an artist needs to create an organic partnership. And those sorts of partnerships resonate more, right? You know, it's a different day and age on the marketing front where simply holding something doesn't resonate anymore. Have a clothing company, charity that I'm super proud of, which we'll get into, and I hustle.
The guy he's being really modest. He's probably one of the most creative in a sense of like getting things done. There's very few people that I could call upon and say, hey, I need to do this X, Y, Z, and it could be like something as outrageous as I need to send some cake to somebody, and that could be a celebrity, and he'll get it done, or a gift. So he's definitely helped me. Our history is kind of interesting in a sense. We were, in the same space, but I didn't even know the guy. So like when I started Fitzy, I was buying obviously thousands of influencers and celebrities, and there was a lot of people in between, and he was on the far end of the spectrum making all kinds of money off of me, and I didn't know.
Yeah, I spent probably close to $1 million plus of his money without knowing it, for sure.
Just
no question about it.
Like the scale of how big Fitzy became, that some guy, and then finally after years of spending all this money, he was like, you know what, let me get on the phone and try to find out who this Fitzy Michael is. And fortunately for me, we ended up connecting and we actually became really great friends. But it's the kind
deeper
of
than business.
A lot deeper than business. I consider him almost like family. So I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
Like let's just talk about like the scope of like the beginnings, right? So this is like think 2-3 years ago. Like a company like mine, I was buying so many shouts. Were other companies coming to you to buy shouts too?
Oh yeah. I mean that strategy. I think you were a little bit ahead of the curve, right? So I'll tell you, in 2012, right? When did you start the company? Yeah, around that. I worked with a company called Live Loci, which is a bracelet, beads infused with elements from the highest and lowest points on earth. Very cool, very simple marketing strategy, huge margins, right? Which is the sort of company that invests in that sort of strategy. And we decided we wanted to have a massive influencer marketing, but the kid unfortunately didn't want to kill his entire marketing budget. So what we did was so slick and so smooth and the first of its nature, and really murdered, like, I've never seen it done before. So what we did is he had a charity component to his company where he donated 10% of all proceeds to a charity, right? I happen to have a 501c3 charity, right? That I wanted to get some exposure towards as well. So we ran a campaign in, what month is breast cancer awareness? Is it October? Whatever month breast cancer awareness was, February possibly. We ran a campaign where we basically paid every female influencer, like, we're not talking about influencers, we're talking about the Kardashians and like anybody you can imagine who was popping at the time. We paid them to wear the bracelet, post the bracelet, and thank them for donating to my charity. So what that did was a few things, right? There was a charity component, so we drove down the price. Like, I think we got like Chris, Kim, Kendall, Chloe, like 6 of the girls. I don't think we gave more than $100,000. Not even joking. And it was in the form of 100, whatever the number was, 120 went to the charity, and we paid him out the 100. So he didn't even touch his marketing budget, right? 'Cause it was donations that he was going to be making anyways. So that's the first time I saw that. But I think Fit Tea, to get back to Fit Tea, everybody was doing it at the time, but I've never really met a founder like you that, can I curse on?
Yeah, of course. Fuck, shit, balls.
Yeah. I mean, you got the biggest dick in the game. Like very few people are on the whim, like, go, let's spend $1 million on a Tuesday afternoon on digital marketing.
Oh, yeah.
On just because.
Yeah,
like,
just
no
because.
strategy to it, but
just fire away.
Fire away. And so yeah, I've never seen that.
I always think back, like, even myself, like, every time I get to like a certain milestone, okay, I made $1 million, big milestone, then I made 2 million or 3 million. Like, there was a time where I was like, I want to like spend all the money that was in the bank account. Like, I wanted to be zero. Yeah. And I woke up like let's say like 7 a.m. and my goal was, by the time I went to sleep, I spent $3 million to do marketing, like on a given week. So like I'll just be calling.
What was the first milestone? When did you click? We'll turn this a little bit.
I feel like it's like 2 milestones. Like the first day.
Okay.
By far the first day was like the most eye-opening because I made $20K in a day.
First day.
I probably spent like $1,000.
Do people know? Can you explain how you?
Yeah. So like in the very first day of Fit Tea, I bought maybe $1,000 worth of shout-outs just from different people, whether they were influencers or theme pages. I didn't really know. I just talked to anyone that had a kick or an email on their profile. And I said, hey, I'll pay you.
And you're doing it yourself.
And this was I did everything myself.
Yeah.
I mean everything in the sense of packing, making the website, everything. And then I set it all up. It was a Friday. I'll never forget it because I had my phone. I was exhausted too. Like, I was setting everything up for that launch, and I had my PayPal notifications on my phone, right? And so like I knew the ads were gonna go live, so I watched the traffic, and the traffic was starting to come in. I'm like, oh great! And then one of my first PayPal notifications came in. I was like, shit! It was like 10 seconds after the campaign started. All of a sudden, I had an order. But then another one came in, and another. And it was like a Rolodex of car, like, prrrr, that's how my phone was. The notification was like, prrrr, all these notifications of order. And I was like, oh, my life has changed. Like, I knew instantly from that.
You were at work?
No, I was at home. I was at home. But that following week, I quit my job, and I told my parents thought I was crazy. They thought I was absolutely, my mother didn't. My mother was 100% game. She knew what I was doing. But like my grandparents, they were like, what are you doing? It took me so long to get a job. It took me so long to get a job because I had graduated during like one of the worst economic downturns in America. Yeah. So like I had no opportunity until I got this job. So my grandfather was like, what are you doing? Just sell tea on the internet? You crazy? But that was one big milestone. And then another milestone was when we did a post with Amber Rose, and she did a like bikini that looked like something Kim had worn, and you know how like Kanye was with her, so it was like that whole thing was happening between them. So she did this like bent over. It was solely like so sexualized, and at first I was gonna say no to the photo. Like I was like, this is crazy. It's too aggressive. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then I just said, screw it, like just do the post. By far, that one photo cost me like $10K. It was by far the most successful photo I ever had. Wow. It probably made like $3 million.
Wow.
Because it trended worldwide. It was on Twitter #1, Facebook #1. That's when Facebook had the trending areas. It was #1 on Facebook. It was just trending worldwide. Hard. And like the photo too, like on IG was getting way more engagement.
You ever see that photo? I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's just, so those two were really big, like as far as like milestones in the beginning that I knew this shit was gonna be crazy. Then after that I was just like, you know what, I want everybody. It was like getting Pokemon. Yeah, I collect everyone.
Literally. I mean, you definitely went on what do you call it? Like when you can I see it?
Yeah.
This was it?
Yeah, that's the photo. That was a successful post. That was like crazy. I never thought it would do so well.
Wow.
Of course the Kardashians, like when we got the Kardashians too, that was big. Like I didn't, I never thought I would be able to get, such a high caliber celebrity to do posts for me, especially, you're selling detox tea.
Yeah, I mean, you did tell Kris Jenner, what did you say to her? What do you call the water?
Oh, so me and Eli, we're in LA, we're going through the Hidden Hills, he's driving me, and I get car sick, so he's like just talking away with me and putting on music, hyping me up for this really important meeting with the Kardashians and with Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
And we're actually
it was a sit down in Kris Jenner's living room.
In her living room, like
literally the three of us, yeah.
And we're sitting there. She comes. We introduce each other. Finally, Fit Tea. We had done millions of dollars of business, and we're pitching the new company, Happy Tea, so CBD. And she's just actually like general questions. And like with Happy Tea, it tastes really great, so it doesn't taste nasty. Like most CBD products taste like bong water, like very earthy. And so, like I said, it doesn't taste like bong water in this professional setting meeting.
She's like, what?
And she's like, what? And he's like trying to like get me back down to earth and check, like, oh, this tastes real bad.
And she's like, but what?
And she's like, what's bong water? And at that point, I'm realizing I'm sitting in Kris Jenner's house and she's asking me what bong water is.
Yeah.
It was just one of those kind of moments.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like it was like one of those kind of memories that, you're even fortunate just to even have that opportunity to make one of those things. So, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, that day, our agenda, I tell people, if anybody, I get my schedule the night before my day. Shout out to the team. But that day's schedule was like 11 a.m. Kris Jenner with Michael, of course. 2 p.m. Mike Tyson.
That's another story. We go the same day. We leave that meeting and go to Mike Tyson's ranch,
Which
was an interesting.
Oh man, interesting is an understatement.
I
don't know if you could talk negatively about it.
It wasn't negative.
Yeah.
It just was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson Ranch is definitely La La Land.
Number one, you don't even know what you're entering. You're like in like this industrial city. There's all these like carbon fixing places. Like it's not good, but it's just not like.
It's La La Land, bro.
Yeah, and then you get in, and there's like
nobody helps you. Nobody talks to you.
People just going from one office to, it looks like Facebook. All these people working like busy bees, just walking around. Nobody
doing anything.
And then we finally get the guy that's like the guy that works with Tyson, which we thought we were having a meeting with actual Tyson.
Yeah, we thought we were going to see
Tyson.
Me and then he kept saying, well, no, they changed the time on us like 3-4 times because they're like, we want you to meet with Mike.
Yeah, so we were like, okay.
Fuck yeah, Mike. I'll meet Mike at 4 a.m. Like, I've met Mike a few times, but Mike is one of those guys. Mike says come at 5 a.m. I'm in there.
We're rolling out.
We're rolling out.
It's amazing like how much they're investing into CBD. Like it was when we got in there, it was way more than I thought we were gonna see, in a sense of like he is moving.
Yeah.
Like I give him like super credit. Like he's definitely like transitioned to this business icon guy.
Yeah.
More so than I thought.
Yeah.
But it was funny. The person that was like the president there. Like we had like this ongoing like joke going back and forth because the guy sits us, we get in the meeting and he's like showing us all this Tyson stuff, which is fine because obviously we're in the ranch. But then he's like talking about like his resume.
Accomplishments, yeah.
It was.
I mean his accomplishment again. That negative shout out Tyson, right? I mean,
it was
he's
impressive.
Steve Jobs doesn't have shit on.
He invented the internet. solar power.
The real estate of how many acres?
It was the biggest real estate. He was like
500,000
acres
of land that he owns. Yeah.
And then then we started like hat backing to each other, like, oh, he invented light and space travel.
But no, they're definitely crushing, right? And I think that kind of goes back to like our thing, like we went there because we didn't even know he was invested in CBD.
We didn't know the extent.
Yeah, we just were like talking, we were like, Tyson makes sense, right? And I think those are the real partnerships, right? Like the Amber Rose thing, right? It made sense.
Right.
That's why it worked. Of course, there was like a little bit of sex appeal, and a lot of sex appeal is a bad bitch. But it made sense, right? Like you believe that Amber drinks 50.
Right.
And you believe that like a lot of those, I think they're the Kardashians to an extent, but that's why Amber worked. And if you identify those sort of partnerships and just know when something picks up, like I think that's what you do better than most entrepreneurs or most executives that own companies, is when something is working, right? So like most of my clients and most of the people I work with, like they'll see an ad works, right, and they spend $1,000 on it. They're like, cool, let's spend $2,000 on it. That works, spend $3,000 on it. You see an ad that works, you spend $1,000 on it, you like put $1 million out, right? And again, it's catch-22. It works, but I'm sure you can wait home on a Tuesday and you're like, fuck.
But I mean, the majority of my risk taking, even I look back, there are some that I go, maybe that was a little bit too much of a roll of a dice. But almost, I feel like, even just in a sense of like how people perceive 50, they always think of the brand being this like massive corporation. I even believe even yourself, like you would look just outside in, you would have thought this place would have been a huge, massive.
Well, let me explain you guys. Let me explain to you guys the infrastructure, and if they don't edit this out, cool, more power to it. His mom and his dad are across. It's how do you explain this? It's an
industrial park.
It's an industrial park with a number of businesses. He has
I have 6 units.
6 units. One side of the units, which is 3 of them, is the fulfillment warehouse.
Right.
Excuse me. And the other half is the offices.
Right.
His parents are employed here, which is kudos to you, the most beautiful thing.
We have a staff of 7. One side is manufacturing fulfillment. The other side is like general office. Mm-hmm. So like we manage a huge company with very few hands. And I've always proud myself in a sense of that we used minimalistic parts to do something that generated millions. I had this obsession. I had read this article when I was in high school of how does one man generate $100 million business, right? Like think about the logic in that. Like how difficult would one man be able to run $100 million, right? There's technology ways that you think Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. But how does one man be able to do that? So I always carried that article in my mind when I started businesses. Like how do I keep making things minimalistically? Because if you don't address those things really quickly, they can spew out of control.
Sure.
You keep hiring, and you don't need to. It becomes a big, problem towards the business over a period of time. So like with us, really the brand became the focus where the money went.
Oh, yeah.
And that caused like such a ripple effect onto the business and even the reflection upon myself. So people always, before they meet me, they think it's way bigger than it is, but it's just a testament to those rolling of the dice of spending $1 million. Maybe it didn't make me $500K, but it put $500K back into brand equity. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but let's switch topics a little bit. I want to talk about your nonprofit, The Music Beats Hearts. I want you to talk a little bit about it, why you started it, and the things that you're doing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the name of the brand is Music Beats Hearts, a charity. It's a 501c3. It was started in honor of a cousin of mine who passed at the age of 31, God rest his soul, from colon cancer. And I don't know if you've ever lost, or if anybody's ever lost anybody to cancer. but it's a process. You watch them die, like stage one, stage two, like it's evident. So when he passed, at the time I was 21, so I was 17 to 21 while he was battling chemo. I remember going to his house and he had the original iPod in, right? We're talking like 9-10 years ago, whatever. And I just remember leaving and being like, fuck, like, I love my cousin, like, we didn't even talk. I went to his house and he in bed, but he listened to like Beats Pill, and I was resentful. I was a kid. I didn't know any better, right? I was like, he just doesn't want to talk to us. And as I grew older and learned more about life and just the struggles of battling, especially like things of that nature, the music was like his getaway. Made him feel like safe, made him feel healthy. You know, it takes you to another place. And I truly believe music helped him live longer, right? So maybe I didn't get all the minutes we spoke together, but I got more moments.
Right.
So I wanted to empower people with that. Not empower people, that's probably not the right word, but I wanted to give people that same opportunity, I guess, to see the power of music. So we started Music Beats Hearts with the intent of giving people battling physical, and we've since focused on mental illnesses as well. Music listening devices with pre-programmed music that is meant to stimulate your brain, make you feel positive, make you feel happy. Wow, that's actually interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna drop a play.
And just generally make you feel better. We have a curated playlist of like 650 songs on our Spotify and Apple Music. We've given out thousands of Beats Pills to kids, and it's an incredible feeling, right? And I tell people, right, as entrepreneurs, like, your day goes up, next day's miserable, the next day that you're the greatest, most powerful human on earth, the next day you're the worst businessman on earth, right? So there's such a roller coaster, but one thing that's always going to be constant is music will be there, and keep you like balanced. So
I'm definitely a music person too.
Yeah.
I'm constantly, and I'm
not. Siri, play Future.
Definitely like Future right now for sure, and but I'm definitely thinking like the therapeutic aspect of music. I always believe that there's something there. Like I'm always constantly, I listen to music in the shower. That's like a part of like my daily ritual, whether that's in the morning or in the evening. It's always some kind of music that's on.
For sure.
Always for me. So I definitely agree with you in a sense of like how therapeutic music can be for people.
Yep.
So that's really, I wanted you to mention that to the audience just because I feel like that's such a big part of your life, and it's something that's really cool, and I wanted to share.
And it's twofold, right? It's how important music is, but also, I must be a Debbie Downer, but how bad the the drug system in the world is, right? And people becoming dependent on these sorts of medicines that they might not necessarily need to be dependent on, right? I've had, I've lost some friends and I know some people battling addiction, and sometimes medicine is not the answer, right? Sometimes it's like, you're Puerto Rican, like, I'm sure your grandparents like, let God handle it, right? Let God handle it and be strong. Like, I don't know. That was like the twofold in that, like, we want to really like spread the message that like music can be your medicine, and it really is. I mean, we do that like throughout like our marketing. We give out Beats Pills. The play with words, right, was music. Beats is the product that we use. And then Hearts was, when I launched it in 2011, the biggest streaming platform back then was iHeartRadio.
Oh, makes sense.
So that's what I had in mind was iHeartRadio, Apple, like Beats Pill, like the Beats headphones were just starting. Obviously, again, as an entrepreneur, like scaling and managing your time is the most important thing, right? So I don't necessarily give it enough love. I am looking to hire a CEO. If anybody out there is passionate about philanthropy and
could be an
music
opportunity.
message, yeah, please.
But I just, wanted to tell you thank you for, all the things you do for me, and, you're a really good friend of mine.
Vice versa,
and,
bro.
You teach me a lot of things, and, thank you for being on this
My brother.
podcast, and, just wanted to share a really great person to you guys, and, thanks for watching again. Big Money Moves.
Gang,
Keep at
gang.
it.
Gang, gang.